Good evening, everyone. I hope you're all having wonderful days today. Uh, Great weather here. I love the rain at this time of year. It's so good for the ground and the plants, the animals, keeps snow on the mountains longer, keeps it cooler through the summer. Just wonderful. We didn't actually get any rain, but the ground stayed wet for the most part from the rains from yesterday. I'm not going to get any tomorrow, but we should get some over the next couple of days after that. So fingers crossed for some more rain. And let's head into collectively rewilding. Okay, so I actually almost forgot to get class started. I was working in Quinn Bee Academy, and this is another community in Mighty Networks that I am a part of because of working with Matthew Lesko, who's in the other community that so many of us here in Collectively Rewilding are also a part of. This is Julia May. She's a Mighty Networks expert. This is her community. And so I got distracted because I'm going to start engaging a little bit in her community so that she'll come and work in Collectively Rewilding a little bit with us because she's just so amazing. And so I'm going to spend about an hour in her community every day. And then she's going to come and spend 2.5 hours. I feel like she's the expert. So I'm kind of the gopher, just popping up engagement and actually learning from her what is in her community. She's an amazing mentor, not only about Mighty Networks, but just about business and marketing. So this is another person that I'll be talking to you all about as we're working to grow as Collectively Rewilding, as a community, as our content creators, which is something that I've got to figure out. I know there are so many people out there that are interested in doing it. There's so many people who have said so in Let's Go Health over the years, but I didn't have a way to communicate clearly with them. I wasn't sure how to do it without breaking the rules over there, and I finally figured that out, and it seems like most of those people have kind of faded away. So there's so many parts to building a business like what Collectively Rewilding is, and so this is just another element that I'm bringing in to try to further what we're all doing here and get that diverse content out there, as well as bring in additional members. Where we've been talking, it might get turned into a nonprofit, so we're never really charging, at least not to the level that we had planned initially. So much going on. And so let's actually get to answering your questions, though. Does anybody have any questions for us tonight? Go ahead and shout them out. Mr. Benny, in the chat if you have anything. I'm guessing that whenever I put Miss Tammy on the spotlight in here, she kind of clams up. So this was created for questions, but she kind of does it off of the content. So let's just kind of talk about some different things that are going on. I have spread all of the seed I have, and I did purchase additional seed for the backyard, another 13 crop, no-till cover crop, right? As well as some deer-resistant wildflowers. They're a little bit different, and they're going to increase the diversity in the backyard. And we don't really have deer issues in the backyard, and they don't seem to bother our plants in the front yard either. We do have 2 dogs out there, having their moments out in the front yard, not just in the backyard, so it might deter the deer relatively well already. However, it's something always to be aware of, and we're definitely vetting those plants for you in our upcoming piece on the different safe ground cover possibilities for the areas throughout the state. Safe trellising, ground cover, deer resistant, and then kind of that miscellaneous that I just don't want to forget to talk about with you that were a couple of other neat ideas, right? And so this particular wildflower mix happens to be deer and rabbit resistant, so I'll be testing some of that out, and I'll have something to add to this piece eventually down the line towards midsummer, this fall, somewhere in there, letting you all know what I think of the deer resistant and rabbit resistant wildflower mix. Excuse me. Part of the overall endeavor of getting the backyard a little bit more ready than we had intended was adopting a little tortoise. So we are still working on that. My husband and my daughter were the ones who were supposed to read this booklet, and yet this is their copy, and it's still somehow sitting over here on my desk. So we'll see how long it takes for each piece to come to fruition, but it's all a process, just like building this business has been. I certainly am not in the hugest rush. I would like to have it continue to move forward, but I've been working on it for almost 5 years, right? So definitely. Oh, was somebody going to speak up, Miss Vanessa? I think maybe she accidentally unmuted herself, guys. Okay. And so for most of you, I would rather see you successful far before 5 years. This is kind of a unique endeavor. It makes it a little bit challenging, and it also has a little bit more complexity than maybe the average business. So I'm not upset with myself for it taking so long. However, it's not a good example for any of you who are interested in pursuing agricultural or otherwise businesses, nonprofits, anything like that. You really do want to move forward generally a little more quickly. So this here is, I had to build the whole platform, get the content out there, still my daily job, being a mom, being a wife, having a garden to create the content in the first place, then creating the content, editing and uploading and handling and sharing all the content. It's a big, big prospect for a single person, right? So that's unusual. You should never generally take 5 years to have any real traction. Now, we are gaining traction as a community. And to me, that's really the most important piece, and to some degree, the hardest piece. A functioning community, people that interact with each other. And that's where we're also blessed to have had the community start over in Lesko Help too, where we all participate, and where we're continuing maybe to bring some other people in, always hopeful for that. Now, though, it's going to be a lot easier going forward, as I'm going to be removing at least completely any cost for the first year. Megan Pater, who we work with all the time over in our other community, I think she may have an account in here, but she's just about 3 times as busy as I am. I don't know how she does what she does. And she's going to work with us to turn. In fact, she was with us in another class that we did specifically about collectively rewilding, and that's already out on the YouTube channel for collectively rewilding. So you guys will be introduced even more to her thoughts there. And oh, I lost my train of thought. So with the yes, that it's going completely free, right? If anything, Megan Pater thinks that we should have a due based or membership based, as in a collection of dues kind of a fee, 25, 30, maybe $50 for an entire year, right? Something very minuscule like you would have with any sort of cause or nonprofit, club maybe. As an example, my husband's nonprofit disc golf club, they have membership dues, right? And again, they're that minimal $25, $50 a year, and that allows them to participate in all the membership only disc golf tournaments and events, as well as having some say in how the nonprofit itself functions, runs, what it works on, all these different things. And so making this affordable to basically anybody in this country, or as we continue to grow, hopefully we already have a gentleman from India in here, though he hasn't participated much. He loved the concept, shared a new gardening philosophy with me that I've since shared with you all. So we have the smallest little bit of a worldwide kind of a culture going on, but that would be the eventual hope. However, right now, starting where we are, of course, getting this country into an agricultural, natural mindset. Not even that. This country's already there. I just feel like there's not a place to go to really get engaged with people that have a like mindset and variety. There's plenty of gardening pages, gardening groups, survival pages. There aren't any overall agricultural communities to just kind of go and hang out in, learn some new things, share your knowledge, explore the different kinds of possibilities that you might even delve into that you didn't ever think about before even, right? So I really feel like this is something that the country and the world is already really trying to do individually and in groups everywhere. And if we could bring that into one place where we all communicate and share what we know, share our successes, share our failures, share our resources, that we can go so much further in this effort wherever we are, whatever we're doing, to be a part of nature, to be a part of a solution, to be a part of sustainability, have that community, that support, and that engagement, a learning space, all of these things. And to be able to offer that for free, that is so beautiful. I just love that. And so I'm definitely going to be following Jess and Megan's ideas, moving that forward in conjunction with Julia May's advice about polishing our community, right? She's just amazing in her explanations and her descriptions and her icons and things like that. And so getting that polishing piece is going to be great when we're finally ready to really launch out there and start getting some traction, perhaps getting some donors and sponsors through working with Megan Pater and turning Collectively Rewilding not only into a for-profit business, but a nonprofit business as well. We always wanted to keep our costs really low and give back to the community and do all these wonderful things. But to be able to do that without even really charging the community is the best of all worlds to our philosophy. So any thoughts, questions about all of that? I mean, there's really so much going on and yet not so much in the same kind of way. What do I know about planting okra? I know very little about planting okra, Benny. I have never pursued it. I don't know if I even have the seeds. I like fried zucchini, even when I wasn't a huge vegetable eater. I started forcing myself in my early 20s because I knew I wanted to have children and I didn't want to be a hypocrite. So I started forcing myself to eat fresh vegetables, and it just slowly grew to where I have to have them like every day. I can't handle not having some sort of vegetable content every day. And okra, though, it's still just, it's a bit rough for me. And even when I didn't eat a lot of vegetables, I could eat fried zucchini, and I tried fried okra, and I mean, that's just a special kind of vegetable, you know? It just really is. uh, Benny shared that he's not the biggest, at least boiled okra fan in a conversation here in Collectively Rewilding. So yeah, tons of fun. And that's what I mean by getting that internal community going. We really have created that same feeling that we're so used to from Lesko Help Too, which is where I got so much of the idea for everything about what Collectively Rewilding is. And so I've been thinking about how I can justify talking about all these different elements in one business. And I'm going to add a little description set of lines at the end of each of the YouTube videos that will talk about a membership in Lesko Health, in Collectively Rewilding, of course. That will be free though. One in Queen Bee, right? That's a different language. Julia Mays from Belgium. So Queen Bee. She's an amazing, amazing mentor for business strategy. I know those of you who are familiar with her overall work aren't able to work as closely with her, and she's just tremendous. So I can't speak highly enough of her. She has a very affordable community as well. So we'll put up something about her. And then finally, but definitely not least, Miss Megan's Birth Mom Buddies. We'll have a line on there for those who'd like to donate to support those of our mothers who give their children up to other families so that other families can be created. Not everyone is able to or wants to have a physical pregnancy, and those folks very much want to have children that they have a family with, and we can't have adoption without someone giving up their baby. So yes, birth mothers need support too. It's a very hard process to go through for the women who give up their children. And Megan also is aware that it can be hard for the men as well. Generally, that's not something that you see quite as much when you're talking about adoption. That is a little bit more trending towards primarily female, but there are definitely men out there that support our women and are absolutely a part and giving up their child too. And it can be very life changing just as much to give a child up as to take one in or bring one in, depending, right? So I definitely support that, and I feel that it's an absolutely wonderful and worthy cause. So we'll be supporting all of these communities because I think all of these communities are really amazing communities, and we really all do very different things. So it would be wonderful for everybody to be able to participate with any of them that are intriguing from listening to what we do here in Collectively Rewilding, and then those that apply to Collectively Rewilding that are in Lesko Health. So, oh, and one other line that we probably should add is that Megan Pater, does handle grant writing. She searches out grants for people, helps them get those grants a little bit deeper than what Lesko Help does, and we'll probably add a line on there for her for her business with that as well. So yeah, I really believe in collaboration. That's what I want collectively rewilding to be at its most core point, is a collaboration between people interested at whatever level they are in nature, in agriculture, in being outdoors, even if that's going to a very scripted, manicured, landscaped, heavily landscaped park, or going out into the true wilderness, what's left that we can find. I mentioned that article that talked about somewhere between 75 to 90% of the entire global soil land mass has been disturbed at this point. So finding true nature is getting rougher and rougher, but there are still those patches, and we're blessed in this country to have quite a few. So I definitely want to see us all out there just exploring whatever part of it is intriguing to each of us. Okay. All right. Any questions, guys? I mean, whew, that was quite a few mouthfuls right there, right? Benny knows what I mean. I'm guessing about okra. Yeah, it's an acquired taste, right? That's the thing to say, an acquired taste. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I mean, I definitely can keep going. We have just so many different things going on with the backyard. Deciding to bring in these plants has been a real relief in my mind. We need to go ahead and weed whack. Probably it's going to take a month to a month and a half for those seedlings really to be established. So we need to be weed whacking while we're waiting to get that cover crop going, not just constant walking on it, but getting out there, getting some of the weeds gone to the best that we can, moving around some of the pieces so that some of the really overgrown areas can get weed whacked as well. We're going to test out putting our lawnmower at its absolute highest setting to see if we can run them down with the lawnmower over the wood chips. Of course, that's not something we want coming up into that lawnmower, so we'll have to see if that's something that'll work or not. In a year or two, it definitely will as the wood chips settle in more and more. We might not be able to do it this year, but it would be a lot more pleasant to use a lawnmower than a weed whacker over the large area that needs to be taken care of. So I don't have to worry about that. I have 2 children. I do the dirt work. They're going to do the weed whacking. I think that's a reasonable trade-off. They're going to eat the fruits and vegetables that come out of there certainly as well. So, and they do enjoy the flowers. They don't really get as excited about being out in the garden as I do, but they love the fruits and vegetables and the flowers. So I'm glad for that. Definitely. All right, everybody. Well,
Can
um,
you hear me?
yes, I
Oh,
can.
hey, how you doing?
How are you, Kendez?
Good. Uh, I just happened to come across a good score. My neighbor had a tree cut down, so I was able to get all the mulch for the trucks took off.
That's
He's,
awesome.
I've been dealing with.
Did they chop it up for you at all? Is it still like in log and branch form?
Oh no, they chopped it all up. I was just so I had like a full truckload of mulch, and I'm just
That's
putting it all over
fabulous.
the garden.
What kind of a tree?
I don't know, but it was struck by lightning, and that's why they had to get rid of it.
So a tall one, probably.
Yeah, it was a big tree.
Hmm. Was it big at the base as well?
hmm
Hmm. Nice. And what part of the country are you in, if you don't mind us asking?
Georgia.
So yeah, trees can get pretty big down there, I would imagine, right?
Oh yeah, I thought so.
Sycamores, oaks, all kinds of great big trees, right?
hmm
Mhm.
Then I came across a leopard moth. I never seen one of those.
I think I got to see one when I was in Missouri one time. Let me pull up a picture. If it's the moth that I'm thinking of, they're really big, right?
I thought it was a zebra moth, but then I looked it up. It's called a leopard
I spelled it incorrectly, but oh, okay. And this is what you're speaking of?
moth.
All right. There's another one. Maybe I don't know. The thing is like this big, and it's white,
hmm
and maybe it's a Luna moth. I'm not sure. It's down there in that really warm, wet area of the world. So, let me see what a Luna moth. Yeah, it was more like this. I don't know that this was the exact species, but this was more like the shape and the size and coloring.
Mm.
Um, not this shaping, more like this shaping. Have you ever seen a big moth like that?
Yeah.
You see those a lot? They're pretty, huh?
I don't see them a lot, but I've seen them some before.
Nice. We don't
Mm.
have any moths that I'm aware of that are that large over here in the West. Not anywhere that I've lived.
Oh, really?
They're much more small, more comparable to the leopard moth that you have here. We have a miller moth.
Mhm.
Oh, and I moved away from it too quickly. And that one doesn't work. Okay, fine. It's really comparable. They have this variation or this variation. Yeah, so really common looking little moth. Very nice.
Oh, and I got a Venus fly trap, so I'm experimenting with it just to see
We
what I'm gonna do.
I wish you luck. I've already totally admitted I suck at container gardening. This one was not entirely our fault, though. One of the rentals that we had, the apartment complex staff called it the dark corner. It was so dark. There was no natural light that came in except in my bedroom window. That was it. And there was no other light in the apartment that was natural. We tried to keep a Venus flytrap alive in my daughter's bedroom. It did not work. And I don't think they require very much sunlight. I'm pretty sure that's why we picked it. And it couldn't even survive. So I hope you have better luck than we did. I've never actually had a Venus flytrap, so that'll be interesting. We'd love to hear about it.
That's about it. But yeah, definitely your business model ideas. I mean, I don't see why it would cause any trouble. I mean,
No, right? I just have to figure out how to employ it, I think.
oh yeah.
hmm How to make use of it. And then I suck at sales. I don't like to force things on people if they want to buy it. I want to help them buy it, but I don't want to be like, hey, you really need to buy my stuff. I'm not very good at that. So I have to figure out how to make an effective marketing campaign when I have that natural resistance. And that's one of the things that I was kind of excited about over in Julia May's community, because that was one of the pieces that I just had looked at in her community. And here, Permission Marketing by Seth Godin. And I thought, oh goodness. And I just, read her little piece on it here. I've already got the book ordered.
Mhm.
Uh, she's also recommended the Story Brand by Donald Miller, which is where I've been spending so much time building campaigns for us here in Collectively Rewilding. This is the AI for that book. I didn't finish the book. I have it right here somewhere, and I've gotten through the first step. And what happened, I got to the first step and I was really intrigued, really engaged. But then you were supposed to go onto their website online and fill out this character sheet about your hero, your character, which is your customer, your member, your client, your patient, whatever each different business would term their audience, right? And you would make this story about your character. The website disappeared. So it took me a minute, but then I ended up finding this, and this is their new website, and it's an AI website, and they basically help you to implement this protocol, this story brand protocol.
Mhm.
Um, the book was great. This AI is like worlds above that. So I'm going to put the story brand book on the shelf for now. I probably will finish it eventually. Who knows? I'm so busy. And I'm going to pick up instead this book, the oh good, permission marketing.
Mhm.
And I'm really excited about bringing that in as well. And of course, that's some of the things that we talk about both here and in Let's Go Help, how to grow your business. And so I've really had to think outside of the box to get something going with my business. And
Mhm.
I think we finally really hit on some keys. Then now I can use all these things that I'm building in here, email campaigns, um, oh my goodness, if you look at all the different options, and this is not all the different options, these are just the ones that I chose: a brand script, a brand or product story, a website wireframe. I completely redid the landing page for us here in Collectively Rewilding based around this. It's
Mhm.
really quite impressive. So it is it's the most expensive subscriptions that I have, unfortunately. So it's not super accessible. However, for any of you who want to start a campaign in StoryBrand AI, I can start a campaign for you in there, and we can work up some marketing materials for anybody that's interested in doing that, right? So
So,
that's always out there. And that would be something we would probably end up doing more in Let's Go Help than over here, but we could definitely talk about it some as we were going along. That's not our focus over here, but we want to help natural agricultural content creators find their niche, build their brands, build their businesses, build their audiences, market their products, all of that within this community. And I really like this idea of permission marketing. So maybe we'll work that in so that each different brand needs to work with the members to get that permission. And it's not this super complicated, oh, may I please market to you? It's not like that. It's a different kind of a thing. So that's why I need to delve into it. But we may approach something like that. So we're not inundating our members, especially in a free audience. It would be nice to have an option that you can go to for free where you aren't inundated with a lot of marketing material, that it's done tastefully and appropriately as is interesting to you, that you've agreed to, not that you've been data mined for, right?
hmm
So definitely a different concept towards marketing. I really like it.
that's awesome.
Yeah. And so you guys really, if you want to create content here, if you need to work on your business, those are some things that are out there. Of course, like I said, primarily, if it's an agricultural based business, heck yeah, we'll work on it. But until there's other questions, for sure, no problem. However, really overall business building, let's keep that in Let's Go Help too. And that's where we can work through that story brand for any businesses, whether uh, telemarketing to scientific research to somebody selling t-shirts, right? It doesn't matter.
hmm
Create those campaigns. That's kind of neat. And nonprofits as well. I don't see why the story brand philosophy wouldn't work for a nonprofit. Pretty neat. All these tools that are coming online. The AI situation is it's a little scary. It's here, and I am always honest. And I tell everybody up front that I'm both a little frightened of the future and that I love the AI that I work with. So definitely some unique challenges and opportunities to anyone wanting to have any kind of an enterprise, whether they're advocating for a cause or trying to, have a bake sale for their local 4-H, right? It's an intriguing world, and there's a lot of danger and a lot of opportunity out there.
hmm One thing I've been working on is just like at least once a day, just researching like an interesting thing. Like I didn't realize I had oh, let me pull it up. It's called
I can stop my
oh,
share. You're
oh,
welcome to share if you'd like.
sure. Let me see. Let me pull
Just
it up.
make sure that you don't have any personal financial kind of information on your screen before you share.
No, no, it's fine. Let's see. How do I share it? Let's see. Share this. Do on the screen. And right here. So like I'll just take a day and anything that I'm either interested in or I'll just find in the garden, like I'll just look it up.
I love it.
And then like I didn't realize what this Irish root was. I was just like, what is it? I pulled it up by pulling up some weeds.
Mm-hmm.
And then apparently it's a very useful plant.
Nice. I
And
wasn't aware of it either. I've seen the word orris before. It looks familiar, but I had no idea that it was in anything to do with irises or anything like that. That's very interesting.
yeah, it's just like these green leaves that were just up. I don't know how to find that. Yeah, it just looks like this. And so
Okay.
I just pulled it up and I was like,
Hmm.
and,
That's well beyond a bulb, right? So, irises are bulb plants. That's
mhm,
a that's a hardcore cluster beyond just an individual bulb. That's very interesting. It's very distinct.
mhm. Well, apparently it's used for all kind of crazy stuff,
Nice.
like perfumes
I
and
saw that. Very interesting.
like things like that. And it's crazy because I had this old ginger that was like wasn't being used and getting, you know, old. So I
Hmm.
was like, well, why don't I just propagate it? So
Did it grow for you?
Well, I just put it in, but
Okay. Well, we want to hear. I was thinking about that myself a month or so ago, wondering if, we get the ginger and you can't hardly use it all unless you just use a lot of ginger. And I hate wasting it. And so I wondered if it would sprout from a garden store ginger purchase.
well, that's the thing. Like it's just like the orris root, like
Mhm.
same thing. It's a ribosome or whatever it's called.
Not a bulb. Rhizome.
Yeah, a rhizome. So it's
Okay.
the same type of thing. I was like, wow, that's interesting. I didn't realize how similar those two things were. Though,
Mm.
whenever you find something that doesn't seem related at all, and then all of a sudden it's almost the same exact thing.
Yeah, that's really neat. I had no idea either. I thought it was a separate plant from an iris, certainly. Like I said, I think I've seen it here. I just read through herbals sometimes, so I don't always know the plants that they're talking about. And I just think plants are so interesting that it doesn't surprise me I've seen it. That does surprise me what it is.
Hmm.
Hmm. Very
Yeah,
neat.
when I pulled it up, I was like, this is weird, but cool at the same time.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Kendez. We appreciate that. What kind of a site here are you using, if you don't mind my asking?
It's called Dart. It's actually like a project management type of deal.
Interesting. So I'm using something called Notion. It looks quite comparable.
Yeah, this has like AI baked in it. Like I
So
was,
does Notion. Yeah, you have to pay for the upgraded subscription, but it does have it as well.
but this one is free unless you have like a team over
Wow.
four.
Neat.
They want you to do it. So it's
Okay.
like right now I'm kind of using it as like what I'm doing is daily things. Like
Hmm.
so I have
Oh, neat.
I do when I wake up, like, and then I separate what I do throughout the day,
Hmm.
like body, mind, and spirit, and I kind of work on that.
Very neat. That's really neat. Well, thank you, Kendez. I think that Julia May might use this. I've wondered what it is, but our meetings go so fast, I rarely have time to ask her questions like that. And so I'm going to have to ask her if she uses dart.com. That's really neat.
I like it.
It looks really useful. Yeah.
Yeah, I use it for like time tracking activities, and you can have like if you have like major projects,
Hmm.
is it basically it's like this. You have like a major thing like here, like if like I'm planning on writing like a course for how to get 40K tax free, and then
Nice.
from there you have like tasks, and then from those tasks you have subtasks, and
Very
and subtasks as much as you want to kind of like break it up. And then
neat.
when you're finished with it, you could just say doing done and you just track it that way. For me,
Very
I've been kind of using it as a daily thing. It's
neat.
something called a sprint, and it kind of like keeps things
Oh,
archived, things that you've done.
yeah.
While they,
Neat. Oh, neat. Yeah.
I'm still new to it. I'm just playing around with it, but I'm
It
liking it.
looks like you're definitely already getting some good use out of it.
Hmm.
I'm doing similar things with Notion. I'm going to bump your share really quickly if you don't mind, um,
Okay.
and just show you what Notion looks like and why I think it's so similar. But I do believe that I've seen Julia use that one as well. So if you go to my overall page, it's right here, um, then within that, there are places to go, and those can be, uh, whoa, okay, this is something I'm not used to. So this is what I would have been pulling up here. So this is their Lesko help community kind of thing, and then they're going to keep popping that up. So I can get rid of it on one of the pages. I just want to be able to see what it is at some point. And so then the new spaces per domain, and then you go in here, or you can go back to the Lesko help community, and you can go into my Lesko report, and that's where I started that full business where we did a different thing, but I ended up just using Google Docs. It was easier just to get it to her with that, but they have this menu over here that's very comparable to what you were using in Dart.com. It just reminded me a lot of it. And so it'd be neat to compare and contrast because this is I want to say it's 11 or $12, and then it's either 11 or $12 to get the additional AI, and it ends up being 22 or $23. So not this horrendous subscription cost. Note that's much more affordable than StoryBrand. But StoryBrand is much more more like a collaborator. It,
Mm,
it does a lot more of the work. So it's quite a different type of an endeavor. Whereas I think that this one and Dart, Notion.com and Dart.com might be very comparable. It'd be interesting to compare and contrast the free one to the paid one.
yeah. It's definitely designed to be more of a, like the Dart is definitely designed to be more of a collaborative tool. Like you
This
can
is
have,
as well. Yeah. See, it's got where you add your team up here.
I'm
But you
just,
have to pay for it even if you don't collaborate.
oh, this one you only have to pay if you go over four people collaborating. So
Oh,
small teams or anything like that. This is
mm,
perfect for, like you could like, you can actually schedule this AI to do tasks, like small tasks, not
mm.
they like writing articles or
This AI will set up trials for you or set up templates for you and things like that. This is what I did for the CR mix and the MELS mix. So I did columns with drop-down menus, and you can embed articles where you can actually interact with the article in your document here. It's pretty neat. So yeah, it would be neat to compare and contrast for sure.
Mhm.
All right, everybody. Well, that definitely ended up being quite a lively discussion there. Let's check out our calendar for next week, and we will be back with everybody this Monday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific, 7:30 p.m. Mountain, 8:30 p.m. Central, and 9:30 p.m. Eastern for exploring organic soil regeneration. I hope to see you all there, and I hope you all have wonderful evenings. Please feel free to unmute yourselves, everyone, and oops, say good night.
Good night, everybody.
Goodbye, Miss Amy. Bye, guys. Bye, Vanessa. Thank you. Bye, Nita. Bye, Kendez and Benny. Have a good night, guys.